All right, everyone, welcome to the Tonecast simulcast on YouTube as well. If you're finding this on YouTube, you are seeing my face. If you are not seeing my face, you are on one of our podcast platforms for the Tonecast. So I want to talk a little bit today about a left turn that we took in business, something that I'm reflecting back on now because we really don't do this very much anymore. In fact, very, very little at all. This is ghost building. So first, I'm going to define what this is. Some people call it OEM. Some people call it all sorts of things. We've called it ghost building, which basically means for a season, we built a ton of pickups for other brands. So we made their pickups in our shop. We put their names on it, and we shipped it to them, or sometimes drop shipped it to customers, just depending on the situation. But basically, we helped create pickup brands for many different companies. We also created specific wines for guitar companies. We also created stuff for people to sell, by themselves, not necessarily just in guitars, but we kind of done a mix of those over the years. So one thing, when COVID hit, we needed to find some different ways to kind of get stuff out there. So we started exploring the ghost wines. We had a couple companies approach us over the years. Hey, would you do this for us? Would you make this pickup for, one guitar that we want to do, or a whole line of pickups? So we've done this in various capacities. We've done some really crazy stuff, some really simple stuff, all over the map. So some of this includes some, confidentiality things. So I'm not going to name names of people that we worked with. Some people did mention we were the winders. Some people didn't. But many brands you may know in the industry, not many, but I would say there was probably between 5 and 7, maybe 8 brands at one time that we were building for. This definitely kept revenue coming in. This kept the lights on, through COVID, through other things. It was helpful just to kind of keep that thing going. It was nice to be able to sell pickups in a different way. At the end of the day, we were still making really great pickups, but we weren't putting our names on them. And so that's what I want to talk about today a little bit. Is this was definitely a stray from the brand. So it was a stray from like the Porter stuff. Now, we're not all about ourselves here. We want to help you guys as guitarists. We want to help people be inspired. But what was happening is with the ghost building arrangement, we weren't putting our names on it, and we weren't attaching our names to these brands. Now, in some cases, that's a good thing. There were some really bad business practices from some of the people that we worked with, and some ways that they didn't treat customers super well, and so we were glad that our name wasn't associated with that. So in some ways, the ghost part of it did save us from a reputation that wouldn't have been our fault, if that makes sense. But we've always tried to just take care of customers. So in a way, we were adopting these other companies' customers, and we cared about them, and we knew in some cases they were paying this company, and then the company wasn't paying us because we could see their website. Some of them, we could see their sales, we could see the incoming orders and things like that, and they wouldn't pay us on time. And so we started just getting frustrated with many of those aspects. And one was just that the energy and the time and honestly the creativity of our team was being put into someone else's brand, and they didn't really care about it as much. I can't say that fully, but they weren't as invested because they weren't actually building the product; they were just ordering it, and so there was a little disconnect in terms of reaching, ultimately reaching those customers. Now, we're really proud of the work that we did. We're really thankful for the opportunity, and I don't want this to sound like a bashing session, because really we had some great people that we did work with within those bounds. But there was a point in the last couple of years where it was kind of that "what are we doing" moment, that we were doing some things that we felt like weren't our wheelhouse. We were building some really crazy pickups. We were building, multi-scale stuff. We were building like customized down to the last screw kind of thing. And it really was just like, man, I'm doing this not because I love to, but because I have to. And there started to be this like joy was being sucked out of what I do in this job because, and our team too. We had to do all sorts of crazy design work, and we had, a whole crew of people working on these specialized products that ultimately we just didn't get paid that much for, and it was frustrating for all of us, I think. And so over the years, we started funneling these companies off, and we kind of said, hey, this is not really where we're headed as a company. Love working with you, but we can't do this. And so it's just an interesting thing. I was reflecting on that in the last week or so, because we've been about a year cleared from doing very many ghost buildings at all, and this has been one of the smoother years that we've had in a long time. One of that is because we've developed a process, we've built and made our assembly line and our manufacturing really to a T for the products that we actually design and create. And anytime we would have something that was just slightly outside, even slightly outside, it just kind of threw everything off. And we were like, why are we working twice as hard for half the pay that with our own stuff? Where we're trying to find this right balance between what we sell. But ultimately, like, the passion was not there because it wasn't our product. We weren't putting our name on it. Technically, we're putting our stamp on it, if that makes sense, but we weren't putting our name on it. And so we started to just feel a disconnect from, kind of the core of why we started the business and why we did this. And so meanwhile, we were still creating Porter stuff on the side and shipping many orders of those. And then we're still, focusing on building the Gatekeeper brand. All these different things were happening all at once. And so it was a good lesson in controlling the chaos, I guess, for me as a leader of this company. I was trying to figure out how to manage all these different angles, manage production expectations, manage, I get 5 angry emails from customers, and then 5 angry emails from each of the people saying, "Where's these pickups?" And then, having to go remind them again that they need to pay us if they want the pickups. And so all this stuff kind of just is like, it sort of sucked the fun out of the business and the joy of doing what we do. And so really, it was the last few years, just like, we got to get back to the core. We got to get back to why we did this and the way we do it, the way we built this entire shop, the machines that we purchased, the laser, the eyelet press, all these things that are specialized for pickups in general, but also set up in a way to build Porter pickups efficiently, consistently, and also get them out to you guys as soon as we can. So this was a big turn, and you could say it probably cost us quite a bit of money to start to work those things out of the way we do things. But ultimately, it was just being true to who we are, and just wanting to get back to that roots and that core. So I've just been reflecting on this a lot, because I think I look back and I wouldn't say that it was a mistake, because I do think at the time there was some very cool things that happened with that. We love the creative challenge to push and to make new things, but our creativity wasn't able to be displayed because we couldn't put our name on it. So there was this weird disconnect of, we made this really cool thing, but we can't tell anyone about it. But then company A, B, C, or whatever will take credit for making the thing that they didn't actually make. And so it just kind of created this funny dynamic. And ultimately, that just felt like, not that it wasn't authentic, but it felt like we were just kind of drifting left or right of the true course that we should be on. And so we made those changes. We made some hard conversations. We cut some things off, and try to handle that as well as we could. And I think that looking forward now, I'm excited about kind of getting back to the roots. I'm excited about just getting into the shop, and I want to say this carefully, but it's a lot easier to build what we build now, because again, we've spent 15 years working on this process, supporting these models. And so now it's kind of like we're back to doing what we should do, what we want to do, and what keeps us inspired. And ultimately, that's the vision of the company. So if you find yourself in these situations like this, where you're taking on work that doesn't bring you joy, it might pay you, but it doesn't bring you joy. I mean, keep that in mind as you evaluate what it is you're about, what it is that you want to do as you build your company or as you build a new idea. No doubt there's some times where you have to do what you have to do. If that means you got to go, dig holes or something like that to make some extra money, that's fine. But keep that in mind as you're looking at opportunities. Sometimes they will be a stopgap opportunity. But one thing, if you start feeling like it's not the right thing, if some things are not adding up, when someone owed us I think $7,000 or $8,000 at one point, and we did not have money for a payroll a couple of years ago. That hurts, right? Because we did the products, we built everything, and then all of a sudden we're owed this money, and like, this is our money, yet we don't want to not deliver the pickups because that then cuts off that pipeline, and it's just this giant mess. So lesson learned from some of those things. Miss a few things about that for sure, but I don't miss much. I really want to focus on Porter, the vision for Porter, and the future of Porter, and it's a really crucial time right now to be thinking through all of those different elements. So I love just kind of talking through, the twists and turns of business. So that's the purpose of this. That was a little bit of insight into our ghost building journey. If you guys have any questions about that, I will answer what I can answer. I may not be able to answer everything, especially like who did you make them for. I would prefer to just keep those confidential, even though agreements are over. I'll just keep it that way. But just what an interesting time, what a challenging time. We loved pushing ourselves. We loved kind of seeing where it could go and what was possible. And our team did so great. We just built some awesome stuff, and maybe someday we'll just like start sharing all of it, and you can connect the dots. But at the same time, it's, I'm just proud of that, and it's really an internal thing where we're just proud of the way that we did it, and the achievements that we did here. Even if we're the only ones that knew, sometimes it would go to a major band, and this other company would sign this major band, and we'd be making the pickups, and we knew that we were on stage and no one else did. There's like 6 people in the world that knew who actually made that pickup for this artist. And so that was kind of fun because there's some major names in the last couple of years that we built for, and they probably are still using him. And other companies get the credit, and that doesn't make me sleep less at night. It's just kind of a fun thing. So with the ghost building thing, there's this like fun knowledge that only a few people have of who actually made the product. So I know there's a lot of ghost building in the industry. There's a lot of private label stuff, all that happens a ton. And it's not all bad arrangements. There's some really good arrangements out there. And again, I would say I would still lean on more of the positive side. We are still doing some things here and there, but most of them are, collaborative type things where they mention, hey, these are the people who make the pickups, but this is just a specialized wine for this company. And so I appreciate that, and definitely enjoy working with those people. So that's all I got for today. Any comments you can leave on the YouTube page here. If you're watching on YouTube, just go down there and make a comment or ask a question, whatever you want to. And if you are on the Podbean platform, go find the YouTube link. We'll include that in the show notes as well, so you can find the link to comment on this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this was an interesting topic. Hopefully I kind of did a quick flyover of kind of what this might look like from the back end of the business, and what a weird time it's been for our company as we've kind of navigated different seasons, and always willing to do what it takes to survive, but also it feels really good to get back to what we are about and our core. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see where things go in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching. Brian Porter here with the Tonecast and Porter Pickups. Check us out on YouTube.